When people aren't confident in what the data actually is, they can't go very quickly. They can't trust their insights. They have to double check everything else because
when resources are tight for this stuff, actually being really intentional about what data do we know, what things are we trying to drive.
The number one skill you're going to need is this ability to pick up a tool and figure it out and not be afraid.
Being able to do a good product breakdown of a UX tool, that's a great way to work into a company that you're super interested in. You're not just another applicant who ChatGPT'd their resume now. Welcome to another episode of AI Product Leader, where every week we shine a light on what it really takes to join the AI world. Real conversations with real AI builders, founders, product leaders, AI experts, technologists, and everything in between to understand where the AI world is right now and what the path looks like, whether you're building AI products or a career in AI. Have a question or topic? Email us at support@AI Career Boost and join the conversation. I'm your host, Polly Allen, the founder of AI Career Boost, where I spend my time helping product managers and leaders navigate the world of AI and transition into AI leadership roles. I've spent my career on both the product management and software development sides of the project development equation, and I'm an ex-Alexa AI principal product manager, where I successfully launched the very first generative AI answers on Alexa back in 2020. I'm super excited to welcome our guest this week, Ann Bakhos. She's a dynamic product leader with a diverse career spanning healthcare, retail, gaming, data analytics, election systems. She's done it all. She has led high-performing teams, driving innovation and data governance, AI-driven analytics, and user experience. With leadership roles at such well-known companies as EBSCO Information Services and Riot Games, she excels at integrating AI to enhance decision-making and automate workflows. Kelly continuously pushes the boundaries of product development and leadership and is a passionate advocate for the good that responsible AI can bring to the world. Welcome, Kelly. So glad to have you today.
Thank you so much, Polly. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. So I mentioned in my intro that you've had a very diverse career, and you've got a really interesting story about how you even got into tech. Can you tell us a little bit more about your background before you were really jumping into the AI space?
Yeah, absolutely. I do have a strange path, pretty non-traditional. I actually started off wanting to own my own restaurant. I love cooking. I love food. I love the atmosphere of bringing people together and just that whole coziness. But it wasn't what I thought it would be when I actually got the job of managing a restaurant and being accountable for 140 people and the turnover and the late nights and the on your feet all the time and all of that stuff. I found out that it wasn't really for me. So I took a little bit of a detour, just kind of trying a few different things, working in health and human services and working in insurance, working in retail, doing the retail management thing for a while. And then at one of the companies I was at, I got this opportunity to start working with data migrations. I was working at a benefits company. Yeah. And it was my job to take all of the files, the payroll files, the benefits eligibility files, and get them from the company into whatever payroll system or benefit system they were using, and then also help them migrate to new systems if they were doing a transition. So I got really competent in the health and the human resources ecosystem and all of those kinds of tools there and how to move data in between. And I started learning SQL and I started learning all this stuff. And I'm that's kind of cool. I kind of enjoy this, making all the things line up. And then I got the opportunity in that same space to design a proprietary client management system. Yeah. Salesforce was kind of becoming a big thing. And I was like, ooh, instead of building our own, we should probably just go there and have and use some of their modules that they have and try to create something. But my boss, she didn't agree with me. She was like, no, we should build our own. And in my head, that feeling where you should never try to build if it's not your core. Right. I had already gotten that feeling just from my previous. Right. I'm I don't think we should build it, but
not the people that build it. Yeah.
But she chose that, but it was actually good for me because then I got the opportunity to let me find a development studio, let me do some mock-ups, let me explore what is the user experience going to be like. So then I started researching all of that stuff, and I was like, oh, I really like this. This is super fun.
Oh, amazing.
And so from there, I was like, okay, few more things along the way. I'll skip over some of that. A few more things along the way, but it always stuck with me. alongside that, like in a parallel track, I'm a gamer. Like I am a gamer girl at heart. I've always loved it. And so then I started thinking I could make video games. That could be really cool. And a friend of mine, rest in peace, he passed away last year, my best friend. It was very hard. He passed away last year, but he introduced me to an amazing human being named Philip Blood.
Yeah.
Philip Blood was a game designer who pitched and developed and produced multiple successful titles. And he wanted to build an MMO. And I was like, I've been playing MMOs for years. Sign me up. We will make the most amazing MMO of all time, I swear. So I was super excited about this. So for 5 years, I started off as just a quest writer for the MMO, and I worked my way up to lead designer on the team, all volunteer based. While I was working my 9 to 5, I was super passionate about that project. Yeah. I made videos, I made tutorials, I helped design a revolutionary new quest writing system using like flowchart tools, and I helped design their player ability system and their game economy. And like I got into all of those different things. And so I was just like, this is where I come alive. I need to be working in games. And so then in my head, I'm like, I love Riot. I want to work there.
Yeah.
How do I get there? I need some more like technical chops. And so that's kind of when I kind of left my world in California behind, drove across the country.
Wow.
And decided to apply for a job at EBSCO Information Services as an entry level. I would just say the closest thing would be like Scrum Master / technical analyst, helping a single team just do the agile thing.
Gotcha.
That's how I got in.
We're using SAFe.
Yes.
Yes. It's so funny because we worked out that we nearly, I don't know if we actually overlapped, but we were both at EBSCO around the same time.
Yes. SAFe hadn't started yet. It was right before their SAFe transformation, because I was actually part of the team that rolled SAFe out across EBSCO, part of like the working group.
Yeah.
So that's a whole story. Oh my goodness. But anyway, I know we're here to talk about AI, so we won't talk about that. But so then when I got to EBSCO, and this isn't games yet, but I was like, I need to build the experience. But I got to, start off as that, and I kind of worked my way up. I became a product owner, and then I worked my way up. I became a product manager working on the UX of their flagship product, and like responsible for a full UI overhaul.
Yeah.
And in that space, this is where the data transition really took hold for me. In that space, as the product manager of the user experience for their research product, I discovered we did not have a telemetry tool. We had no way to capture user behavior and get insight from it.
Oh yeah, so
and so I'm sitting here trying to build a new UI, and I have questions. You know what I mean? Like, I have questions, and I'm going to my boss, and I'm like, I can't make decisions because I don't know the answers to these questions. And they're like, well, we don't really have the answers to those questions.
Does anyone ever use this button? We don't know.
We've got to get answers. And so I lobbied, and the company there, they were very receptive to what I was saying. They're like, we kind of want to know too. I'm like, yeah. And so it was just a matter of educating, right? Like they didn't really know what was possible. They're not technologists, they're CEOs, they're leaders, right? Like they're not, And so I shopped around, and I was very happy because they decided to start prioritizing like data as a thing. And so they hired this amazing individual, shout him out. They hired Chris Adams. He became my boss, right? And he was like, okay, we're going to get this. We chose Amplitude as the tool, but we went through a whole evaluation.
Yeah.
And we chose the tool, and he was just like, okay, go do it. Like, we're going to implement this on the old product and the new product.
Yeah.
And I learned about creating a data model and making sure that what is happening in this system is translated to what's happening in this system, so that we could, I learned all of that stuff. And then I started to understand how important data modeling was. And then it was just like, oh my gosh. And then data governance, and then, and then fast forward. So Chris Adams, and then he was actually promoted. And so I got another boss, Chris Chido, two very amazing mentors I love. they mentored me into the director position at EBSCO, leading the data teams. Amazing. So I got to like kind of move up with some amazing mentors. Both Chris's were at major companies, Microsoft, etc. So they really helped me grow, which is so important. I'll pause there because that was a lot.
No, it's so incredible. And I love hearing you speak to the importance of finding those mentors and advocates along the way.
Yes, it's hugely important. It's so critical.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially someone who has some of that deep tech expertise, potentially from outside your company, if you're working somewhere that isn't their like main business.
Right. Because what are librarians going to know about like that, about user behavior telemetry? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. They do know a lot about like
data
systems and data.
Yes. Well, that's how I was able to make the connection for them. When I started explaining it to them in that way, I was like, we don't know what books our users are checking out.
Yeah.
Like, how important is that for the librarian to know which resources are valuable? Which things do I need extra copies of? Which, you know, that kind of stuff.
All the library management stuff.
And that analogy was really helpful for us to get funding.
Amazing. Now from EBSCO, you moved on to...
Yes, so I was at EBSCO, and then I was attending a data governance talk because there was a talk that was being done by Chris Kadelka at Riot, and he was doing that in combination with Elation, who was their data catalog partner at the time. And I just signed up because I was like, ooh, Riot and data governance?
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Two of my favorite things. That's awesome.
Exactly. So I signed up for the talk. I heard him speak and I was like, oh, this guy speaks my language, not just in what he was talking about, but just in the way that he vibed. I could tell. I was like, I want to work with him. Like, you know, so I just reached out to him. I was like, hey man, like, I loved your talk. I love what you do. Like, can we get an hour together? I would just love to, you know, whatever happens, but I just want to pick your brain about data governance and what you're doing. And then that talk just turned into, hey, we have an open position. You should apply. And then pretty soon I got my dream job, man. It was like,
that's incredible.
Awesome.
How about the warm networking, right? It's not like they're like cold emails to hiring.
Yeah, like sending a thing into a thing. Like, it's, I don't think it would have worked, especially because of my resume, right? I do not have a formal degree.
Yeah.
I had no real experience in gaming. Like my COS experience is good, but when you tell a big company like Riot, oh yeah, I worked for a game that never made it. Right. Like it's not, when they have like the best of the best applying to be there, your resume is not going to rise.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So like when you have a non-traditional path like this, the warm networking becomes critical. You have to let them see you as a human. And I think that was what was, you know, really helpful is like Chris and I, when we met, it was like, that's 3 Chris's in a row.
Yeah. They work out well for you in your career. That's great.
I know. Chris was a good thing, I guess. No, so yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. That's incredible. So what was your role at Riot?
So at Riot, it was interesting. What I got hired in as was the program manager for data.
Gotcha.
So I reported into their head of data, and it was my job to just kind of like make sure all the teams were working well together, make sure that like the company knew what data was doing and how it was going. And
I bet they had UX telemetry data.
They do. That was a really fun experience, like getting to see their data ecosystem. It was definitely, there was a lot more of it.
Right.
Just a lot more of it. And a lot more people working in the space. Like they had some, if I had to add up like all the analysts and the data scientists across all the teams, like you're looking at 400 or 500 people.
Wow.
Which is like substantially more than my team over at EBSCO, which was more like 70, 80 people.
Yeah.
So it was a lot.
Well, there's so much more complexity. You want more data to make those decisions, right?
Yeah.
I think that's often something people miss when they, especially if they don't come from a high tech company, like those gaming systems are kind of tech native. And so they're like, they might err on the side of like, log everything. We might
log everything.
Log it anyway.
But let's not have a conversation about a data model. Let's not talk about that.
We should talk to people to do that. You know, exactly. We'll just log everything and worry about it later.
You know,
as opposed to when resources are tight for this stuff, actually being really intentional about what
Yes.
data do we know we're need, what things are we trying to drive up into the right,
Yes.
and what are our hypotheses
Yeah,
about
when cost is a factor, not that it wasn't a factor at Riot. I don't want to like they
yeah.
they had a whole team, like their data governance team was highly focused on like how are we optimizing all of our AWS resources to make
Mm,
sure, because their spend in AWS was extremely high in
right.
comparison to what EBSCO's was. And
Yes,
so their focus was a lot on that.
totally.
From a governance perspective, and less so on the other aspects of governance, which to me actually are the ones that generate the revenue. It's one thing to be focused on governance from a cost savings
Yeah,
perspective, but when you think about governance from a revenue generation perspective, I think that was one of the things where we really needed to kind of grow as a
yeah.
company. But it's hard to get that message out there about governance um,
Being a
as
revenue.
a revenue driver.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about that. How do you see governance driving revenue? Because again, I think it's always seen as like antithesis of growth. This is the cops. These are the stoplights, as opposed to the things that
Yeah.
actually enable you to speed on the highway, right?
Yes, it's the enablement. That's exactly right. So like when people aren't confident in what the data actually is, they can't go very quickly.
Hmm.
They can't trust their insights. They have to double check everything against everything else, because you ask someone for monthly active users and then you ask someone else for monthly active users, and there was not a standardized calculation we use across the entire company for monthly active users. Now suddenly your forecasting is wrong.
Yeah.
Your estimate of what users are engaging with what features is wrong.
Hmm.
And all the decisions you're making are,
Yeah. Potentially wrong, or
yeah,
you're flying
or
blind. Yeah.
or you don't know. And then the insights that you gather, it's the same thing. If you don't understand the definitions that you're using of what every field means and how it's collected, that's why data modeling is an aspect of governance, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's very, very important. It's not just about, because people a lot of times in the olden days, it's not that old, but like they see data modeling as an exercise of performance and scalability,
Yeah.
as an exercise of providing the right database performance for the application, and not always as an exercise of how are we going to extract information out of this system in a useful and intuitive way,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so that our definitions remain clear and stable, and that the insights that we gather and the things that we generate, because that's really what we're going to make all our decisions off of.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pipelines to revenue from that, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Exactly. Whether it's like
Yeah.
basically from insight to feature that's generating revenue,
Yeah.
you want to optimize
Yeah.
that cycle. And
Right.
it's so true that if
And the
everyone's
time to insight would be the other piece I would connect to that, right?
right,
How long does it take me to get my insights? If
yeah,
an executive has a question in their head
yeah,
and they want to have that information, they need to make a decision then. Like,
yeah,
but no, if your cycle between idea to insight is like 3 weeks, and
yeah,
you know what I mean, that's really, really hard. And so one of the visions I tried to set, as a part of the data governance team at Riot, and this may sound weird coming from the data governance team, but I want every rioter to be able to answer any question about our players,
yeah,
about our games, or about Riot itself
yeah.
in less than 10 seconds.
I love it.
That was the vision.
Yeah,
And that's what, to me, that's what governance unlocks. It's
right.
the ability to answer those questions quickly. That's
Yeah.
how it connects to revenue.
I love that. I love that. And I think like it's a compelling vision of like the future of governance, like in
Hmm.
this world where there's
Yes.
been so much tearing apart of systems of governance under the names of like efficiency, right? It's
Yes.
like, oh, actually,
The
can we?
other way around, friends.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
thinking ahead, so that okay, these are the kinds of questions I'm going to need to be able to answer.
Yeah,
These are the kinds of problems I'm going to need to be able to solve.
yeah,
How am I going to get at that?
yeah,
And if you don't think governance first, think about that, because governance is what enables you to answer questions
yeah.
quickly,
Quickly and actually have the
make them
solutions be
actionable.
agreed upon and exactly being actionable in a way that you're not going
Hmm.
to hit a bunch of roadblocks
Yes,
along the
precisely.
way with people disagreeing with your data or whatever. Oh,
Right.
that's amazing. Oh my gosh. So from Riot,
Yeah.
now you're
Yes.
working for in a completely different area in
Yes.
election. right? Can you tell us a little bit more about your current role?
Oh, my current role. I am actually really thrilled about my current role because I'm getting a little bit back to what I love. I love governance. Don't get me wrong. All of my governance team, I love you. Heart, heart, heart. I appreciate you. It's not my passion though. Like, even though I'm passionate about it, it's not my passion. My passion is design. I'm one of those people where it's like you put a problem in front of me and I want to spend like days researching all the tech that's out there and all the different solutions and then thinking of like, how can I solve this problem? What's a cool design? Like, what would I do for it? So this project is designing, I'm working with the County of Los Angeles to design a new election management system for them to use.
Okay.
And that is, it may sound simple, but it is incredibly complex.
Uh-huh.
They are, I believe, the largest jurisdiction in the United States with some 11 million, well, the numbers are interesting. About 5 to 7 million active participants in election, about 11 million active people who could be participating in the election.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Um,
And this is
so
federal elections or county or what?
so the County of Los Angeles runs all of the elections for all of the people who live in Los Angeles. So they run the federal, the state, the local.
Wow.
So the cities within Los Angeles will all go to the County of Los Angeles and say, we need an election, and these are the election services we need from you.
Okay.
These are the ones we're going to do ourselves as the
Yeah.
local jurisdiction. So they run between 12 and 15 elections each year, actually.
Yeah.
Most people think of elections as like at most every 2 years. It's like,
Right.
no, it's all the time, guys. And if you aren't aware of your elections, I'm plugging the elections. You get involved locally. Get involved locally. Know what's going on locally. That's what's actually affecting you the most.
Gotcha. Yeah. Oh, totally. Oh man. And so there must be so much complexity in terms of managing. It's all of the
Yes.
election services that you're involved with.
Yes. Yeah, so all of the election services, just to give people an idea. So in the state of California, it's a little different than other states. The state of California is all vote by mail.
Okay.
So ballots are generated, they're sent out. So the
Mhm.
idea of we have to have a voter roll.
Yeah.
We have to be able to maintain that voter roll, which means like as people change addresses, move in and out of the counties and migrate between counties. And then you have to sync with the state system because the state has to then report federally.
Ugh.
Then you've got the voting machines themselves. So if people decide, I don't want to mail in my ballot, I want to go on election in the election window and vote in person, you've got those machines where the system needs to sync because people have to check in and you have to be able to search for them and then you have to pull them up and you have to invalidate their mail ballot so they can't vote twice and validate their other ballot. Then you've got the actual ballot processing center, which they stream live during elections, what's going on there. It is a huge warehouse. You've got the incoming place where all the mail ballots are being returned. You've got 2 huge machines that process 40,000 ballots every hour that they feed them into to scan the envelopes, get the signature, authenticate the signature because it's required by law that they authenticate that it matches the signature that happens that they have in the system for the voter. If it can't, it gets put into a manual verification process. Then it goes through all of that. Then it goes through tally, which is it has to be a completely air-gapped system that's disconnected from everything else, where people have to like load that data in manually through like a human being walking it from the server to the other server. And then it's locked down and only specific people can access tally. And then all the tally scanners are completely separate networks from the other. Like it's this huge thing.
This is not a hackable thing.
No. Oh God, no. Like,
no.
yeah. No, it's extremely secure. It's extremely secure.
Yeah, totally.
And it's an effort of thousands of people, thousands of volunteers, thousands of people who volunteer in the sense that they still get paid as election workers, but it's like a temporary gig for,
Yeah, exactly. They just show up for certain elections kind of thing. Amazing. And we've been talking about the fact that, you've been looking at different ways AI can be integrated. I'm sure that you hear from lots of people who are like, AI in the elections, no thanks. We've got enough in our elections already. Thank you very much.
It's funny because every jurisdiction is different. Los Angeles happens to be pretty excited by AI from what I've gathered so far. I'm not speaking on their behalf, but like from what I've gathered so far from conversations, they're excited and curious.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are a lot of considerations we have to put in place due to the black box nature that AI sometimes comes with.
Right. The lack of
Everything needs to
explainability.
be extremely transparent.
Yeah.
Everything needs to go through a rigorous certification process with the Secretary of State that happens yearly. And so when you're implementing AI solutions for government, you have to consider a few things, right? You have to consider, is this jurisdiction, I'm using that loosely for like state, local, whatever government entity you're working with, is this jurisdiction AI excited, AI curious,
Yeah.
anti-AI,
AI skeptical.
AI skeptical, or like completely like hell no. And so when I'm building this product, which we do eventually hope to scale out like nationwide, I have to be very cognizant of like, how do I embed in this product AI features that if a jurisdiction is one of those other things about AI, it's I have solutions for them otherwise.
Yeah, so that is something that you plan for, that transparency, but also there's
Right.
the ability for people to opt out if they want.
Right, but even government entities like the County of Los Angeles, who are very AI excited and see the potential of it, we have to design mechanisms by which to make the AI transparent, ensure there's a human in the loop component always. We hear that phrase a lot of times. It's imperative in elections, not just from an opinion perspective, like a feeling perspective, but from a regulatory perspective.
Right.
You have to make sure that there is a check and balance like baked into whatever you're doing. So one of the things we're exploring is in the state of California, as I mentioned, we're vote by mail, but many states have what's called like a sample ballot that goes out before the election.
Yeah.
And it's not just an example of what the ballot's going to look like. It's also tons of information. Like I think, and also the voter information guide. Those pieces are, it's tons of information about the upcoming election, the candidate statements, the summaries of all the measures that are going to be on the ballots. Right now, all of those summaries are painstakingly written by a human.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So it's an area,
like,
right?
Isn't that funny that seems so old school now?
I know.
It's like, of course they are. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just one small example. The other example would be like the signature recognition side of things. You think about it in terms of like when a ballot gets returned, it recognizes the signature, associates it with the voter, and I should say envelope, because the ballot is actually a private thing. The computers never see it. It doesn't get scanned into the system. There is no way for us to associate a human being with the actual ballot itself so that we could tell a human, like, you voted for this person.
Yeah,
that has to be private.
And
so when I'm saying like a ballot, I'm talking about the envelope that proves they participated in the election with their signature.
Okay.
But so there's signature recognition. You think about the ballot, but it's actually the petitions process. I don't know if you've heard of this. Do you know much about that process? Or I could expand upon it for
exactly. Please.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
So for anything to go on the ballot, there are many times, most times, a petition that's associated. So like if a candidate wants to run, they have to get a bunch of signatures from the constituents within their district, and they have to sign and they have to put their address. In the state of California, there are requirements that those signatures need to be verified.
Okay.
And so for some petitions, the petition is 140,000 pages of signatures.
Oh.
And so you've got what the county of LA would have to do is bulk hire a bunch of temporary workers to sit and
like,
every page, look up the person, try to read the handwriting, try to whatever. I think this is a huge place where AI can really help.
Oh my gosh. And as you're looking at introducing AI, like, it feels like every time we look at introducing it, there's already so much mudslinging, contentiousness about fraud and that kind of thing. How is I'm sure you thought about it. How do we avoid this situation of, we're pretty sure that the machines are damaged, biased?
Yes. I mean, this takes me really back to my governance roots, right?
Yeah.
If you set up metrics and you show demonstrably, like, this is what human people did, this is what the AI did.
They're not infallible either.
Yes, exactly. And you say humans make mistakes too, but AI makes fewer mistakes.
Right.
and you just start like you have to kind of develop those metrics and sort of demonstrate
Yeah.
over and over, and then keep those case studies around,
Right.
post them on the government's website so that
Mhm.
as people start learning of these systems being introduced, they can go see.
Yeah.
And even, I mean, I would do things like post it up here yourself, scan in your own thing, see what happens.
Right.
Does it
Yeah.
return you when someone tries, like how do you, how would a human do this differently? That's
Right.
one of the things I think people miss a lot when we're talking about AI is like, well, how would a human be much different here? Even the hallucinations from ChatGPT, I
Right.
try to tell people like that's their version of being a fallible human being.
Right.
In my, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we keep trying to solve it. I'm like, well, solve it with my intern. Cause like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's what an intern would do. I kind of think this is what it is. I'll just give it to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's that like we all need a sober check,
Yeah,
or I was gonna
check.
say a sober set of eyes, but I was like, is that because
Mm,
I'm implying I'm drunk all the time and not
yes.
being a sober person look over my work? But you know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah, for
like,
sure.
oh, a human check of something is always going to help if you
Right,
have that extra piece. But
right.
yeah, I'm just intrigued to know if you I'm sure there must be angles that you'd be like, oh, we have to assume that there's going to be people looking for
Yeah.
ammunition.
And that's why we're staying away from the tally process
Yeah,
completely. We
yeah,
want that to be a very simple, like that stays in its air gap thing. We're just not going to touch it. But all the other surrounding things, like just validating that we received a ballot, that's pretty innocuous.
yeah.
The
Especially the
summaries
visibility.
themselves,
Yeah.
yeah, like we can. I think that there's a lot of impact we can have without,
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, without discouraging trust or discouraging.
Right. And then we'll work our way to that. Cause like if it were up to me, Polly, like from what I've seen, if we just implemented an online voting system, like many, many countries, by the way, have done, and people just digitally participate, we would raise participation. We'd make it easier for people to be aware. We'd cut a million gazillion dollars in costs. So,
Yeah,
like, if I were to speak to the current administration, I'd be like, lobby for this.
yeah,
If you're caring about government efficiency,
right,
lobby for a centralized voting system that
right.
is transparently run by an independent third party or whatever, however you want to do
Exactly.
it. Like,
Something that is
but
transparent is
like,
the key thing,
it
right?
because
That can be not be accused of being partisan is
yeah, I don't
biggest.
want to get too political, but like, there's just so many jurisdictions. There's just getting into this space. Every single state, every single county, every single everything. Like even in the state of California, half the counties are using one system, the other half are using another, and then they all are having to negotiate with the Secretary of State, and there's hours and hours and hours spent on if we introduce this new feature here, then we have to introduce this new feature over here, and it just becomes like I'm like, or you could just have one system to do the elections in
Yeah,
the country. So maybe that's what we're building. Maybe we will build something and we
amazing.
can convince people to to use it. We'll see how it goes.
Absolutely incredible. It's such impactful work, Kelly. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it really is.
So you've gone from, obviously not having tech to getting deep into the tech sphere, both in the program management and then that data management space. And now you're fully like leading the charge on building these AI systems.
Mhm.
How did you do that transformation when you think, especially around the AI piece? What was the piece that got you to a point where you can envision and start to push for the implementation of these features?
I think the bug for AI got really big at Riot.
Yeah.
It was kind of on my periphery of like, this is super cool and I kind of like it. But when I was at Riot and I started seeing like the AI features they were implementing, and I got a chance to like observe Wesley Kerr, who works for Riot.
Yeah.
If for someone to follow, like he is awesome. He's leading the AI team at Riot. And he is really really awesome. And so when I got to see like the potential of it all, so that's one part. And then the other part was when I was working on Citadel of Sorcery.
Hmm.
One of the cool things about the MMO that I was working to develop was our game engine, our proprietary game engine. We developed a way to systematically generate universes
Very cool.
down to the detail of a blade of grass. Every planet would get constructed. It would have biomes and weather and ecosystems. Like we were able to generate these things, and this was like 15 years ago.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
we were like way ahead on the
On the
procedural
generative side.
generation.
Wow.
We didn't have a good product manager, so we couldn't sell it. And we couldn't scope. We had me and Phil, who were like designers at heart. So we're like, we need this feature and this feature and this feature. And we didn't have someone like you to come in and be like, guys, we have to effing pitch this to someone or you're not going to have any more volunteers. You know what I mean? And so Phil and I were like, which I had to also give credit to Phil. He's the one that helped me get my job at EBSCO. I wouldn't have gotten that job without him. He gave me this glowing, like, you have to hire Kelly. I know she has no tech experience, but you have to hire her. So I'm grateful for him for sure. Anyway, now I forgot your question.
No, not at all. We were talking about the AI bug. So you talked about
the AI bug. So it started kind of there. And then when things didn't go so well at Riot, I was kind of they had some layoffs, and unfortunately I was a part of them. Big bummer. But in that little window, I was like, I saw your course actually, and that was like, I was like, okay, I am just full force going into the AI stuff now, and making it my passion. And so it went from this kind of like thing that I was supporting through governance and through like awareness. And I would throw my peanuts in with ideas and stuff, but I wasn't actually like fully implementing the AI solutions to now I'm like, I feel prepared to lead these initiatives. I'm excited to do it with my teams. I'm introducing AI tools to all my teams. And we can have a whole other conversation about the changes to every single knowledge worker's workflow if they start incorporating AI, because that's what I've been doing for my company right now is helping them transform their workflows.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I'm sure. Exactly. It's whenever people are like, oh, well, am I getting into this too late? Or like, I already,
no.
AI experience. It's like we've barely scratched the surface of what's possible. And the change management is just starting, right? It takes people time to change and adapt to new workflows and tools, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that experience adapting to change and helping our teams perform under those kind of changing situations. That's exactly the skills. Well, I'm so excited for how far you've come, in such a short time building with this AI stuff. If someone wanted to follow in your footsteps, someone who wanted to get an AI, didn't know where to start, what would be your advice to them?
I would say start using the tools yourself. Take 15 to 30 minutes, block it out in your calendar and say, this is my AI playtime. I'm going to, and you don't have to be super structured about it. Just think about a thing you're doing every day and try to do it with AI. Or if there's something fun that you've heard AI can do, like generate a video, go just try to do that.
Yeah.
And don't have fear about it. Think of it as a playtime for yourself. Like I used to spend my spare time at every spare moment I got, I'd like play video games. And now AI has become my new video game. I take my spare time and I'm just like, okay, I'm going to learn what it really means to create a video. And I will say the insight I've gained from doing this habit that I'm recommending, the number one skill you're going to need is this ability to pick up a tool and figure it out and not be afraid.
Yeah.
Like, just don't be afraid. Just jump in, like try a new tool, see how something works, and you'll be so surprised to find like what you can incorporate into your workflows as a knowledge worker when you start doing this.
Yeah. Incredible. I think that's such incredible advice that so many people are always asking, where do I start? I'm like, it's lying all around you.
Yeah.
Right?
It's all find one and play with it. See what it works. See what it looks like.
Exactly.
Try to deploy an app with Lovable. Try to make a video with Sora. Try to generate a cool picture that you want to print out and put next to your desk. Like, see what it's like to work with AI. Understanding how to work with AI, that's the first step before you even think about trying to build it. You know what I mean? Like, if you start seeing the friction points, because we talked about this many times, like the UX, the user experience of working with AI, I think that's where you're going to need the real talent is helping people be able to interact successfully.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many tools where I get into using them and I get super frustrated.
Right.
OpenAI, call me. Because like I get super frustrated.
And that's I think maybe that's part of the barrier too, is people start playing and then they get frustrated with these tools. You have to have a pretty high threshold to keep moving through. Like, be ready for these tools to be awkward, right? At first.
And those are your opportunities, future AI product managers, right? Those are your opportunities. This is where, hey, I played with this product. I see the problems. contact them. Hey,
Yeah.
I've got some recommendations for you. This is the warm intro. This is getting you in, you know?
Totally, totally. A product breakdown and that kind of thing, being able to do a good product breakdown of a UX
Mm-hmm.
tool, like that's a great way to like work into a company that you're super interested in.
Absolutely.
You're not just another applicant who chat GPT'd their resume now. You
Right.
actually, you know,
Yes.
put together um
You've provided value before they hired you.
yeah,
Nice job.
exactly. Oh, fantastic advice, Kelly. So we have time for one last segment, and that is plugs. Kelly, is there anything you want to plug? You want people to get in contact with you about?
Yeah, sure. So I've got some things cooking. I'm not quite ready to plug them like directly yet, but I
Yeah.
will say if you can follow me on LinkedIn, I'll be doing some interesting things when it comes to some new products I'm kind of working on and some governance ideas, and of course to see what's going on with the election space and what we'll be doing there. Very very excited about that. So if you want to learn anything new, I try to share insights about governance, AI, and the intersection between that and the government systems. So
Oh, amazing. So give
yeah.
Kelly a follow on LinkedIn. You can reach out to her if you want to start a conversation. Fantastic. On my side, I'd like to plug, we always have our Path to AI Product Leadership Masterclass coming up soon. Check us out at aicareerboost.com and sign up for the next one. We do always add new material about the latest trends, but it's all about how to find your way into AI leadership roles and how to get those skills that you need to lead and succeed in AI and the AI era. And then finally, I love to plug the show. So leave us a like or a 5-star if you love hearing inspirational stories of people who've transitioned into careers in AI. It always helps us to share the word if you do that. Also, if you have any questions you'd like us to delve into, areas we'd like us to explore, support at aicareerboost.com. You can reach out there. We love to hear from our listeners. And that's another episode of AI Product Leader. Thanks again so much, Kelly, for joining us, and really appreciate your time here. We'll see you next time when the next episode.
Thank you so much, Polly. This is awesome.
Thanks so much.